Story Where Autumn Leaves Whisper. Okay, I was really stuck for a book this Halloween. There's a whole lot of junk out there, a lot of violent, a lot of gory stuff, lots of eerie stuff, stuff that I can't read, basically. And then you get the typical common stories or myths and legends and so on and so on. And I didn't want to go down that road again, as I'd known, what those stories are all about, basically. So I said, I needed something different. I needed to read some kind of a short book that was on another level, giving a spooky, eerie feeling for Halloween, being mysterious, but at the same time being beyond the supernatural or paranormal. And how the hell would you do that, right? What book would that be? Where could I find that? So being a writer, I decided, well, it's up to me really, isn't it, to make this story up. Just make it up, just get writing. And at that moment I was walking in the woods with my kid and something happened right in front of me there and then. The leaves started, swirling around, a gust of wind came and it made like this tornado of leaves around us, this whirlpool of leaves that seemed to be almost, creating a portal as if we were going to be going somewhere else. And so I said, right, now I could leave my imagination run wild here and create some kind of a scary, yet as well, scary but, kind of a dramatic and unusual autumn tale. So it kind of all the story began in those circumstances. So at the back of the book it does say a bit about that. Autumn has just begun and Halloween is in 2 days. And I can't choose the right book to read. I need it short, mysterious, with a good twist, something supernatural, scary and alluring, but not the typical stuff. Not gory or violent, or not a book that's going to terrorize you or give you nightmares, right? So I wrote this book myself, and here it is. And it basically says that, the short autobiography that you can write there next to your picture is that I myself love to write when I get inspired, and this is another one of my fascinating creations. Short and sweet, which is what I like. I don't like books that go on too long. However, I do have one long novel that I really wanted to write, and I really wanted to be long and intense, and I guess when you've got to write like that as well. And that one is called The Femagogues. I should do another video on that. And it took me about 5 years to write it, but again, I don't write every day, because between work and living your own life, so many things to do, right? So Where Autumn Leaves Whisper, I'm going to read a few excerpts from my book right now without giving away the whole story, of course. A tale to be told by the lighting of the first autumn fire. Prologue. Sometimes there are people you meet you don't like to tell out loud the truth to. To reveal the truth would mean criticism, condemnation, persecution. However, it seems that no longer do we need to hide. But today something happened. I felt that evil would try to have its last stand before it crumbles. Seeing how others love seeing revenge is not nice, in not nice ways, made me feel concerned. Now, we wouldn't want to be getting on the wrong side of anyone. Although you can clean yourself and protect yourself energetically, it's something you must learn to do and apply it regularly. Not everyone is willing to take that step. So, you can see that the book starts profoundly, and it goes into a little bit about toxic people, toxic energy, negative energy, and then it connects us very deeply and in a grounding way to God, and trusting in the universe and the great spirit of life, the all-knowing and controlling, in fact. It's interesting to add that we humans will never fully be content, no matter what materials we actually have, until we are completely in unity with God and our soul. Then we can rest. And what does all this mean? And why am I talking about this? And aren't humans meant to be harming or doing something or creating some kind of karma? In fact, it is time for heaven and earth. So I go into this dimension of just wanting to get beyond this third dimension and go into the fifth dimension, because now in this year 2026 we're starting the year of that, of the shift happening whereby human consciousness is forced to, is pushed in the right direction, is pushed towards this fifth dimensional, more global love, unity and harmony state, rather than the way we were kind of programmed beforehand. This is a step in human evolution that's actually happening right now. So the book is very timely, I think, and because I've been awakened in that aspect as well, and there's a good bit on that as well that's behind all the scenes of what's happening here with the action as well. A thundery sound of echoey, crunchy, cracked acorn shouted to the ground outside, as if a storm of hail roared through the thick outdoor wood. Never had I heard such a rebellious whirlwind of acorns falling at once, with a sudden mid-warm autumn gale that later halted abruptly. It was stunning and fantastical at once. A chorus of resounding undertones and drones from these very small wooden elements, all making their statement in a funky unison. Reminded me yet again that Mother Nature rules above us all, above any human. The great spirit of the world is what guides, the breath of life, life itself, its essence, the who behind life. And upon that thought, I felt a bit more at ease rather than uncertain. And so the book goes on. All of this was happening as I peered out of my small country cabin cottage, knowing that I needed to make my way soon through these woods in order to gather some kindling, take a walk and pick whatever was useful along the way. The weather coming into autumn had been bright and stable, but of course unpredictability is on its way now as the season is changing and bringing in the autumn breezes. My urgency, though, wound down by the thunderous acorn storm. My window became foggy with my tea-scented breath. Warm cup in the hand seemed to quickly lose its heat. I'd be putting on my long cape today. Inside was warm and filled with cinnamon incense that I like to burn coming up to Christmas. My dog and child would accompany me as always, always together. God doesn't want loved ones apart. And so the book goes on there. Yet soon the dark clouds cotton-wooled up, thickening immensely into wheels of dark smoke, and it became eerie and dark, and a mist that seemed invisible appeared to descend from the warmer land as the air cooled. We had our rigid boots on by now, and we were ready to open the wet garden gate and start our adventure, as you never know what it might bring. The swirling, crispy brown leaves curled up into various waves of wind and wrapped themselves around us. As we kept on walking and smiling, hoods on, we were protected by nature's shield and felt safe to continue our journey. Somehow we felt we weren't alone this time. Usually there were always other neighbours out with their dogs, but rarely on this part of the track. Somebody was getting close. Somebody was watching us. There was a presence felt, coming from the distance. We could see it, but it was menacing. It was out to get us. So, an innocent and philosophical start to the book takes a turn for the worst, basically. There's a lot of good description there as well with the about the autumn leaves and the whirlwind and the weather, until a couple of things happen then after that, which I don't want to give fully away. So I'll just read a few snippets more. I turned around without fear, but much more pissed off this time and ready for battle. I could make out two... Okay, I won't say what appears. Stand your ground. Do not budge. Show no fear. But it wasn't my voice. There was no time to think whose it was. Listen to your heart, not your racing mind. Obviously, we were in their territory, and they knew it far better than us. So something happens there in the woods, obviously. They had no business, anyway, threatening us like that. The woods are for everybody, and we respect them. We'd done nothing wrong, but stood our ground. Then I wondered about him. Is God's energy masculine or feminine? I feel it's completely neutral, gender-wise. Just a huge force behind any tractor engine or heart. It's immense, it's infinite, it's extremely bright and impenetrable, profound and pristine. There's no face to it, nothing, just a power, almost supernatural-like to us, but it feels close, in complete control and harmony within all living matter. Phew. We happily returned to our home after a stunning and rather mysterious autumn walk. After tripping over a couple more roots and stepping on soft matty mosses, the sun had almost fully set, shooting its last rays of bright fluorescent pink across the sky, where the immense thunderclouds had tranquilly rolled off by now. The sunset was truly impressive. Deep red, orange, bright pinks, then turning to indigo and turquoise towards heaven. The tall trees silhouetted in black, and the bumpy hills seemed sleek. The house was in sight, just about 20 metres ahead of us, and again I felt we weren't alone. The woods were whispering, or the trees were talking to us. These shushes weren't coming from us, or from above us. They were coming from around us. Couldn't understand the message. It's a language I don't recognise. From my studies of light codes, this sounds something beyond Earth. It could be something angelic, some kind of light language, or is it an alien language? And so we leave it up to your imaginations there now. I don't want to be giving away the full story. It's up to you to read it to find out exactly what happens. There's a bit more to it than that, but I sense there that if I read any more of it, it could spoil it, you know. So really the video is just giving you a little taste, a little flavour for what it's like to read this book, why it was written, why you might like to read it, and just to get it out there and share it with everyone else as, you know, I think it's a kinder thing to do than just writing a book for yourself, because initially writers do write for themselves, and they also write to educate, and they also write, you know, to share their thoughts and ideas, and, you know, teach us and all about other things and so on. So it's a interesting read, it's pleasurable, it's a different kind of Halloween style of book, but it's something that, you know, it could have gone another way. It could have gone really eerie as well, you know, could have gone sadistic, or could have ended up positively. I'm not going to say what happens there with the whole thing. Of course, authors can be critical as well. We are very critical people. We're real critics. I mean, every book that we've written, we would criticize and say that we could have written it another way as well afterwards, okay? But sometimes you have to go with the base story, the story that you initially feel that this is what you want to work with, and layer it up, you know, and go for expanding that, and let's see how people react. So you're very welcome to read it. Can you read it late at night? Would it be a bad thing to read it just before going to sleep? It shouldn't affect you too much, but I would read it in front of, like I suggested at the beginning of the story, in front of fire, in front of the fireside. Sorry, that's my alarm there. And I just take it from there, really. I just read in front of the fire, and on an evening, a cold evening, and I'd finish it in one go, right? Because they're short enough to do that. Whereas these long novels, you can't do that. At least with a short novel, you get to finish it all and really get to the action and the story. in it. Although you might say, oh, I'd love a sequel, or, you know, well, maybe there might be one in the future. So the important thing is to get it going, get it started, get it out there, and take it from there. So, oh, it's getting late here, excuse me. Thank you very much for listening to me, and you know where all my books are, so look forward to hearing from you.